All right, hello, welcome to Adventures in Lollygagging. We are back. We're starting a new game tonight. We are playing Werewolf the Apocalypse, the new version from Renegade Game Studios. It's 5th edition version, and some folks here have some familiarity with Werewolf, others do not. And this is going to be a session 0, so we're going to be building a lot of stuff from scratch. We're going to be going over character creation. We're going to be doing some relationship mapping and some world building, all that kind of stuff. So if you are watching this thinking you're going to see actual play, that is not what's actually happening tonight, but that will be happening next week and every Thursday thereafter. So yeah, we're going to do our basically everything. We're going to walk through it slowly and all the different ways that we can kind of build werewolves. This is also not a sequel, but we've done other World of Darkness games on the channel. We did about a year ago, or maybe not even a full year ago. Aaron, Melissa, we ran the new 5th edition of Hunter. And so we're going to kind of keep the similar setting, even though it's not a sequel. You don't have to actually know anything. So it's kind of our own little section of the world that we're building up. But that's what we got going on tonight. And I think we should just dive in. Let's just dive right in. Like, we don't have any characters to introduce yet. And if you've watched this before, you know who everybody is. Slightly different spaces. But let's go. Okay, so a couple big questions first. And this is really, I just kind of want to get an idea of what the general vibe we want for the Chronicle, which is the World of Darkness term for campaign. Are we talking, do we want to get serious horror? Do we want to be more pulpy? Do we want to be like fighting? Do we just want rampage stuff? Do we want more weird supernatural stuff? Like, just trying to get an idea of what people are into for this one. If anyone wants to throw out an idea, like, or even like a comparative thing. Like, are we looking to just be rampage werewolf fighting all the time? Do we want more inner conflict? Do we want tribe versus tribe conflict? Werewolf versus werewolf? What are we thinking?
I like the idea of true gritty horror, with the spooky supernatural as well, and definitely inner conflict between the werewolves of the pack. To give us something, some edginess to our.
So Aaron wants about 3 or 4 of the options you threw out.
Yeah, a little bit of everything. Yeah, a little buffet action. That's totally fine.
Link it up.
He really just wants to attack one of us. So give him that chance.
Yeah, as long as he's get the opportunity to kill one of us.
Give me a knife in somebody's ear, Stephen, and I'm taking it out.
Is he in chat yet? No, he's not in chat.
I don't think so.
Yeah. Yep. If you've watched our Hunter game, you know that Stephen got stabbed in the ear by Aaron's character. It's fun times. All right,
because he deserved it. He deserved it.
Oh, he is in chat. He is in chat.
Hey.
It's like we say his name and he appears. He's just like Pennsylvania Poke. You just say his name.
Right.
He pops up. Okay, so
I've always been a fan of pulpy, supernatural, detective-y stuff.
Okay. All right.
And dark horror I have no problem with.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, werewolves are beefy enough that we can survive some gritty horror. So,
okay, awesome. All right, I think that gives me an idea, because I have some ideas for what I want to do in the campaign. I just want to make sure we're like kind of hitting the tones that you guys are looking for. That works. Okay, so then let's dive into some aspects in terms of the setting. So first, for those, if you haven't read the book, there are some Werewolf the Apocalypse truths. I'm just going to read them straight from the book, just to give us all so we're all on the same page about, if you're completely unfamiliar with the setting, which is kind of a reset, just so everybody knows. If you're watching this and you're like an old school werewolf, and the fifth version kind of resets stuff. So werewolves have the ability to take numerous forms on the spectrum from lupine to hominid. So basically there's a couple different forms. You could be different types of wolves, actual wolves. You could be half monstrous wolf, half human, or you could be something much closer to human, or you can just be basically human. Werewolves belong to multiple worlds, spirit and flesh, wolf and human, but are wholly accepted by none. So a lot of this game is about that idea of not quite having a home, not quite having a specific community, or being torn between two places. Werewolves are feared and mistrusted by each of the worlds to which they partially belong. So the flesh and the spirit world to some degree. Werewolves are creatures of rage, forever at risk of losing control of themselves. Rage is the main mechanic of werewolf that kind of separates it or distinguishes it from like hunter and vampire, if you're familiar with those other games. Werewolves are charged with an unreliable greater purpose by Gaia, a spiritual entity who is herself inherently unknowable. And werewolves consider the worm, a primal force of entropy and decay, to be the chief threat to Gaia. And much of Garrow existence is spent confronting its agents, real or imagined. So those are the basic fundamental truths of werewolf. Now, in terms of our setting, we are the Southwest U.S. Sorry, Kipser. In the Southwest U.S., based primarily around Phoenix. We just built it because a lot of us were in the Southwest when we started Hunter, and so we're just going to continue it. So it's totally fine if you're completely unfamiliar with it, but it's basically a desert city with a desert around it.
Yeah. Okay. Desert.
That's really it. If you ask if there's water anywhere, the answer is no. There is not.
Landlocked.
What's the weather like? It's hot. There you go.
Oh my God, my surfer idea just got destroyed.
You can be a surfer in Arizona.
You can sand surf with don't they have the parasols you can surf on the sand?
Probably. I don't know if we have a lot of that here. I know basically four-wheeling is the big thing here. You got
to go to the deserts of eastern California have better dunes, I think.
Yeah, we don't really. We're very dry, so we don't have sandy deserts. We have flat, compacted earth deserts. Is basically what we have. It is modern day, so don't worry. We're not going to worry too much about the specific year or whatever that, but it's going to be modern day. So all technology, stuff like that, all that kind of the equivalent, whatever you might expect. We're all going to be basically. We'll build a little bit of the cairn in the SEP community later, but basically you're all part of the same kind of community, and not in the city, but kind of on the outskirts, or even all the way into the desert. Like we could even be like a desert commune or in that as well. So we'll sort of define that a little bit more. In terms of the area, there are active hunter groups. There is an active vampire coterie. These are we will see some other components of that pop in, and so. So sometimes I might tie it with some other things that we've done in the setting. All right. So then what we first need to do before we get into character creation is we need to decide on some what are called chronicle tenets and also some themes. So tenets are basically, they do actually have a mechanical, this isn't just like for flavor. They actually do have a mechanical impact on the game, as they do somewhat define how you start moving towards one of your death states. Like there's a couple different tracks we'll talk about later that you can kind of get towards a death state. And so if you start going against the tenets that you set up for the chronicle, then you can potentially start going bad. So basically a chronicle tenet is, for the most part, it's just the boundaries, like your moral and ethical boundaries of the game. And it's some of it's like, it's all going to be defined by us, and you all primarily are actually going to define it, not even me. There are some samples in the book that we can go by. We can either pull them directly or we can kind of come up with our own. And it's really just about what are the things that if your werewolf went against these things would be considered like an egregious, like a lapse of like ethical and moral boundaries. And if you were to go against it, you would have had to have like a very, very good reason to. So some of the examples in the book, the environmentalist one, for instance, never cause harm to Gaia, do not hoard resources, never put short-term gains ahead of long-term goals. So those, if we wanted an environmentalist focused chronicle tenet, we could do that. There's apocalypse radicalism, do not cling to the old ways, never kill an outsider, vengeance must be served. So those are the things that you would follow. If you start not doing those types of things, you could potentially move, when you start moving on your tracks towards, I always forget the H's. We just talked about them before, if you want to look them up, Aaron. And then finally, another example they have is traditionalists. You can uphold the litany, heed your elders, only ritual challenges merits killing of other Garrow or werewolves. So those are a couple examples. What's that?
Harano and Hoglusk.
That's that. The second one of those, when you start kind of getting towards when you start going down that track, that's where you start to get very extreme examples of people who would break these tenets, essentially, is what that kind of ends up being. So what are we thinking? What are you thinking? Are there any of those sound interesting? We can mix and match. We can come up with our own. What are
Sorry, could
all
you run
thinking?
through a couple again? Sorry.
There's the environmentalist one. So it's not causing harm to Gaia, not hoarding resources, not putting short-term gains ahead of long-term goals. So not like going for profit when the world is burning, that kind of stuff. Apocalypse radicalism is another category. Do not cling to the old ways. Never kill an outsider. Vengeance must be served. Then there's the traditionalist, which is uphold the litany, which is basically like werewolf, werewolf law and sort of so to speak. Heed your elders. Only ritual challenge merits killing of other Gera. So if you don't want a lot of werewolf on werewolf fighting, traditionalist is definitely the way to go. So
I think
again,
environmentalist is one of them.
I
What do people
almost,
think?
a
I like the
mixture of
first
Gaia
two.
and Apocalypse.
first two.
Yeah.
The first two.
we can combine we can combine these. So from the environmentalist ones, do we want to do never cause harm to Gaia? We like
Yes.
that?
Yeah, definitely.
Mhm.
All right. Do not hoard
And-
resources. Do we want that one too?
I think swap that one out with an Apocalypse one.
Okay.
Mm.
Like,
do we
vengeance
want
must be served.
Vengeance must be served. Okay.
Vengeance must be served. I like that one.
All right. So we're kind of like a little mix. So vengeance must be served. All right.
I also knew Aaron would like that one.
Mhm. Vengeance
Yeah,
is always a good
Or
choice.
You gotta
vengeance is in there.
You got to throw a smackdown on somebody every once in a while.
Oh, for sure.
Right in their
okay.
ear.
So we got a third one if we want to do so like not that there have to be three, but like three is a fairly common grouping. So do we want from environmentalists, a third one is never put short-term gains ahead of long-term goals. From apocalypse radicalism, do not cling to old ways, never kill an outsider. Any of those sound like we would
Never
want
kill
for a
an
third?
outsider or the short-term goals.
Yeah.
One of those two I'm happy with.
Okay.
What are we
Jamie
thinking?
or Evan or
I think
Melissa?
I'm okay with the short term one,
Yeah.
unless we end up with a character, unless we build a character that we realize will very much go against that. Then
Yeah.
We can cycle back at the end.
Think it.
Like we'll
Yeah.
cycle
Okay.
back at the end, make sure
Make
there's
sure
nothing we
everything
want to change. Okay, so I'm gonna put that
and
Goes
down.
together.
And some of the fun parts of this chronicle could be one of our werewolves slowly ticking down that path towards.
True.
Mhm.
And the other thing is like it's not that you're not allowed to do these types of things. It's just there's consequences for doing so. And if you're doing it for selfish reasons, then that's going to hurt your status among your renown amongst other werewolves. But if you do it for good reasons, I mean there's conflict interest there. So it's just what our chronicle tenets are. All right, so we're good there. In terms of, and we've already kind of talked about like themes and stuff like that. So let's just dive into character creation. All right. You all ready? You got your PDFs up and such.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So Werewolf encourages you to start with like a sort of a generic pitch. Like what's your big picture? And so some of the examples they have is like werewolf soldier of fortune or drug-addled shapeshifter oracle. So if you have something in mind, if you know a phrase, and we can use that to help sort of give you some advice on maybe what to choose as we go along. If you don't have a big picture and you just rather just kind of pick the options as we go, we can do that as well. But that is at some point we'll try to get that big picture picked together. A werewolf, though, mechanically speaking, the two first decisions you make, and they're very, very big ones, are auspice and tribe. So auspice is what you do. It's the closest thing to a class. If you're thinking of class-based games, it's the closest thing there's to a class. And it's defined by your first change, where the moon was in the sky, the night of your first change. And each one of those has things that they do slightly better than others, or that they're more prone to doing, that kind of thing. So that's why they're kind of like classes. Later when we get into gifts and talents and special abilities, there are some that are limited to your auspice, like that are gated by your auspice. There's still a ton others to choose from, but there's some. So the auspices that we have, there's Rakabash, which was born under the new moon. These tend to be questioners of tradition, gadflies of the Garou. They are like tricksters and rogues and non-traditionalists, kind of like that. There's the Theurge, which were born under the crescent moon. These are mystics, kind of spirit talkers, visionaries, ritualists. They do have an affinity for interacting with spirits. Is it Philodox or is it Philodox, Aaron? Do you know? Philodox. These born of the half moon. These are judges, arbiters, peacekeepers, mediators of conflict. They know the letter of the litany, so they're almost like the lawyers in some way. Which I probably shouldn't have said that because I don't know if that makes them sound less fun to play. There's the Galliard, which is born of the gibbous moon, which are like storytellers, lore keepers. They uphold the spirit of the litany, heralds, things like that. And then there's the Arun, which are born under the full moon. They are generally warriors and champions, etc. Now, again, just because they're warriors and champions doesn't mean every werewolf is going to be badass. So it's just that's kind of their focus. So I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to turn it over to you all to, I don't know, chat. Which kind of auspices everyone's kind of interested in playing, and let's figure it out.
My top 2 are Ragabash and Alrune.
My top 2 are Ragabash and Thurage.
Those are also my top 2.
Yeah.
I'd say my top 2 are Philodox and Arun.
I could also go Galliard.
Yeah, I think Philodox is interesting too. I don't know if I have a second one. I mean, Alrune's kind of more simple, I guess you could say. Like, you know what you're going to be good at.
Straightforward. Yeah.
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 Yep.
All right.
So do we want to start the dominoes with...
Yeah, we got to start somewhere.
Evan, do you want to...
I mean, I said I was going to fill in, so you guys...
Melissa, you always pick last.
I've never played.
Yeah.
I vote
so
Melissa
I'll
picks
go last.
first.
I second.
Okay. I know Melissa. I love Melissa. She's my wife. Just saying, asking her to make a decision. It's a 2-hour stream. I don't know we have time.
I won't wait here.
All right, Melissa, get the dominoes around. Pick one.
I was most excited about Theurge.
Okay.
So
all right.
If that doesn't harsh anyone's vibe, that was...
Kipser was the only other person I think who liked Theurge. Is that right?
Yep.
All right. Well, what was your second one then, Kipser?
Ragadash.
Ragabash. Who else wanted Ragabash?
I was either Ragabash or Alrune was my interest, but I can.
Okay. Okay. Well, Kipser, do you want to do Ragabash then?
I will take Ragabash.
All right. Well, since we took one away from Aaron, we'll go to Aaron then. It's a domino.
So Aaron gets the warrior.
Okay.
Yep.
He doesn't have to. He could. You know.
Yeah, I'll take it. Aaron. I'll take Aaron.
Okay. Shocker.
I know, it's crazy. It's not like I spent my entire adult life as a soldier, but
you don't have to pick it.
No, I actually kind of liked the Aaron, so that's why that was why it was my top 2.
Okay, fair enough. I think Jeremy, was Aaron one of yours?
Yes.
Okay, so then what was your other one?
Philodox.
Are you good with Philodox then?
I am.
All right. So that means if you're feeling Evan, that means it's Galliard.
I got the one no one said.
Yep.
You did say Phil. No, are you good with playing that? There's no rule. There's no rule that we have to cover all of them. So if somebody really doesn't want it, there's no reason we can't play 2 auspices. Okay.
I will figure it out.
I expect a
Or
guitar
if you want
next
to do
time.
Philodox, I can fill.
No, it's good.
Okay. Again, we don't have to cover all 5. It's perfectly fine to have more than one of the same auspice. There's no rules against it.
I am doing it.
Okay. All right. Tribe time. And I would say because there's 11 tribes, and I would also say when you guys pick your tribe, and tribe where auspice says what you do, tribe is like why you do it, like what's your kind of primary like driving force. It also defines your patron spirit. Your patron spirit will define a favor and a ban, which is both, which will give you like a little bit of a bonus and a potential penalty. It's really small. It's very minor, but it does give you some role playing prompts. And so I'm going to go through them. I would say with tribes, especially, I would say do not. I know that we tried to cover all the auspices. There's nothing wrong with having multiple people from the same tribe. I think that makes perfect sense. I'm not saying we have to, but like I would just say don't avoid it. I think it would be totally okay. So let's just go through the 11 ones. I'm just going to read through them, and I'm just going to cover the big picture stuff on them, and then you all can read as I go. So this is basically in alphabetical order. So Black Furies, they are people who are usually at the forefront of conflicts and causes, be they big or small. Their primary concern is pursuit of justice at all costs. That's kind of what it is. They want to take down people who abuse power. Their patron spirit is Gorgon, and they are primarily associated with glory. Now, there are 3 different kinds of renown in game: wisdom, honor, and glory. And a patron spirit is normally associated with one of those 3. That'll be important later, but it does actually have a mechanical effect. So, because there are some gifts that you'll use later, some of the special powers and stuff that might require certain ranks, essentially, of wisdom, honor, or glory. So the patron spirit of Black Furies, or the Gorgon, normally associated with glory, it's basically about taking down systemic power. And so there's, again, each one of these has a favor and a ban. So a favor for Gorgon is that you can sometimes add an extra die to a pool if you're doing something that's trying to oppose positions of power. But if you are neglecting to prevent injustice, you could also be penalized and make it so you don't get as much willpower back. There are also archetypes within each tribe. Archetypes don't have a real mechanical effect. They're really just kind of giving you flavor as to what you could potentially do with your character, like how you can kind of define them and how they play. Like there's no specific requirement. You don't have to be these types of things. It's just, these are some of the concepts some of the people that might end up being like within this tribe. So for Black Furies, the archetypes are most wanted. So a person who's quite wanted, EMT, musician, outrider. I'm not going to read through all of them, but if you go into the specific chapter for tribes, like you can see like the bigger write-ups for what those specific archetypes mean. So that's Black Furies, excuse me. Then there are the Bone Gnawers. Bone Gnawers are usually people on the periphery of society. They're people who can normally go unnoticed, and they also discover secrets. And so that's what they primarily care about, the idea of uncovering secrets. They're associated with the patron spirit Rat and honor. And you can get a minor bonus from trying to find knowledge with a purpose, and you can potentially get penalized if you pass up opportunities, if you're not an opportunist, basically. Archetypes are a zine raconteur, so like a small press pub, sound tech, friend of ours, and gig wheelman. The children of Gaia, they're the conscience of Guru, or at least that's some of the phrase that kind of can pop up every now and then. They ask why and to what end. They pursue higher knowledge, and they also are healers. They heal wounds. Their patron spirit is Unicorn, who's associated with wisdom. They basically want you to learn how to do stuff, or how things interrelate, I should say. So you could potentially get bonuses to awareness or insight rolls sometimes, and you also could potentially get penalized if you're lying or if you're deceitful for personal gain. Sawbones, dealer, wayfarer, and miner are common archetypes. There's gate stalkers, which are basically people who track. So they relentlessly track enemies and bring them down. So they're all about hunting prey, that kind of thing. They're associated with the patron spirit, the North Wind, who's associated with honor. You can potentially get extra bonuses when you're trying to pursue prey. You can also get potentially penalized if you do not partake in a fresh kill every day. There's Drifter, Spirit Walker, Gaucho, and Leech Talker are the names of archetypes for common characters that might fall into the Gatestalker tribe. There's the Ghost Council, which are secretive seekers of mystery. They look to uncover hidden knowledge and court dangerous allies. They are often guides, academics, and religious folk, people who are seeking higher learning, deeper questions, things like that. They are associated with the horned serpent. That's the spirit. With wisdom is what they're primarily associated with, and it's very transactional. So like they get like their relationship with their spirit. So they encourage people to look at things from all angles, and you can potentially get bonuses on like investigation or occult or subterfuge dice pools. And you could potentially get penalized when you don't satisfy your curiosity. Like if I hint at something and you decide to not do it, then you could potentially get penalized for it. Contemplative, saboteur, witch, and shepherd are all archetypes commonly associated with the Ghost Council. The Glass Walkers are masters of technology and human methods of outsmarting enemies. They're science types. So if you're interested in playing a scientist of some kind, or an engineer, or a technician, or an inventor, pretty solid tribe for you. They care about learning and applying knowledge, adaptation. Their patron spirit is the spider, and it's associated with wisdom. And you could potentially get bonuses to doing things with tech or science, and you could potentially get penalized if you destroy complex machines and vehicles, computers, etc. Urban planners, car liberators, which is a fun way of putting that. Detectives.
I like that name.
Yeah, I do too. Detective and tattoo artist are all common archetypes within the Glass Walkers. Heart wardens is the next one. They are stewards of nature. They defend and they nurture territory. They also try to reclaim territory as well, sometimes lost to different things. They are associated with the stag, which is with glory. They can potentially get bonuses to things like survival or animal ken, which is like animal handling in a way, or anything that's nature related, craft type roles. And you can potentially get bonuses if you let somebody who is under your hospitality come to harm. Common archetypes are huntsman, digital cairn strategist, MC, and local legend. There are the Red Talons. That's next. Almost done, folks. Red Talons. Those are folks who, not all of them, but many of them have their first change happen among wolves as opposed to like in the human world. They're very angry, and they are one of the more radical tribes. But they do give voice to those that don't have a voice, and that includes animals. They care a lot about curtailing the influence of humans. And when they get very radical, they can even start culling populations, including human populations. Their patron spirit is Griffin, who is associated with honor. And you can get bonuses to brawl, and you can get penalized if you are making use. This is funny. This one cracks me up. If a session occurs in which a Red Talon makes use of academics, driving, finance, firearms, science, or technology to repair or utilize something, you can potentially be penalized for that.
I saw that. It's like, no, that is not how you interact with the world.
They are different. Archetypes. So I think it's hilarious. I think it's great. It's very well defined. Archetypes: bounty hunter, man eater, prepper, and plague dog. Next one, 3 more. Shadow lords. Shadow lords, they dominate allies and enemies through strength and guile. So like it's all about dominance and submission, and they try to learn weaknesses of folks. Very shrewd intuition, calculating minds, strategists, warlords, that kind of thing. They are associated with the patron spirit Thunder, which is the renown as glory. You can get potential bonuses to animal ken, intimidation, and subterfuge when you're threatening or exploiting weaknesses. And you could potentially be penalized if you ever are defeated in a conflict, which doesn't necessarily mean being a fight, just any kind of conflict, to a Garo that has lesser total renown than you. Their archetypes are Boyer, Hacktivist, Midnight Terror, and Assassin. Silent Striders are wanderers, travelers, messengers, newsbearers. They care about the journey, scouts, stuff like that. They're also very versed in different customs and cultures because they travel a lot, And so they care about delivering messages. They care about trailers. Sometimes they're seen as kind of a portentous sign if they suddenly show up within a sept or a community. Their patron spirit is owl, and they are associated with wisdom. They can potentially get bonuses to athletics and stealth in certain situations, but they could also be penalized if they ever, if they're not performing like certain commemorative rites when they witness things happen. Archetypes are Kinseeker, Ambassador, Revivalist, Long Haul Trucker, and then finally Silver Fangs. And I told Jeremy that if I were playing, this is what I would be. Silver Fangs are leaders, and that's not why. They're basically the closest thing to noble lineage. They have a legacy of aristocracy and decisiveness. They primarily care about leading, rallying, inspiring, motivating, etc. Their patron spirit is the falcon. It's associated with honor. You can get bonuses potentially to persuasion and leadership, and you can potentially get penalized if you ever take actions that might cause you to lose renown. And the archetypes, and this is where my idea came from: local celebrity, hetman, glory days QB, or noble in exile. And so I would make, if I were playing, Al Bundy is who I would make.
Those were the best archetypes, I think, like all in that one.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
there's some good ones. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to stop talking now because I just talked for a really long time, and I'm going to let you all talk amongst yourselves about what you want to do.
Red Talons.
Oh my God!
I don't blame you.
Face. Oh wow! I didn't
A
see
warrior
that coming.
werewolf red talons? No.
is there a particular archetype within?
Aaron
Maybe,
puts
maybe there'll be a
himself
little
out
bit of a
there.
surprise there.
Immediately
Which
go
archetype
for
you
it.
pick?
I'm tempted to go with you first.
Yeah, no. You started talking first, so
I'm tempted to go with Heart Warden, I think, especially if we're going with kind of the more environmental thing.
mm-hmm.
So somebody who, if the Phyllox has a little bit more knowledge or tradition, be somebody who has a little bit more roots in whatever the local spot we have set up. Maybe even go with local legend. Like he's somebody that's been living in this area for quite a bit of time, even before things start.
Yeah, I like that.
Nice.
Old man werewolf.
Say it again,
Man
Jeremy. I'm
werewolf.
sorry. What tribe did you say? I totally was paying.
Heart Warden.
Heart Warden.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you.
Did you pick like an archetype? I'm sorry, I missed the archetype.
I think I would go with maybe less huntsman because we've already got a red talon, so that's clearly our true hunter. I would go more with local legend, especially
legend,
if it's
that's what
somebody
you
who's
said.
been
Yeah.
in this area for a long time, even before the events of what's going on.
If I'm playing Ragabash, I think the Glasswalker detective would make sense. Always
cool.
questioning and digging
Ooh.
into mysteries. And I would think so it's genetic, passed down, but I wasn't necessarily aware of it, got shot, wolfed out. Now I have to deal with it.
Love it. What about Melissa or Evan?
Evan, what are you thinking?
My initial idea, because based off the class, the Galliard, I was thinking of doing like more of like a cartography as how the person explains history. Like they have all the old ancient land of like they know where it was divided and where it's been lost, and so like they have all of this old knowledge. So I was thinking stuff maybe like Silent Striders, like they've wandered all across and they've just gathered numerous old maps that people thought are gone, like ancient history type of thing.
Yeah, I think that can
That's
work.
cool.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
That is cool. Do you have a particular archetype within that, or did I miss it?
I was thinking what was the first one?
The Kinseeker?
Yeah, I think Kinseeker
that's a
could
good idea.
possibly be a part of that. Like maybe they've helped corral people into other cairns and stuff as they continue traveling.
Yeah, finding the
I-
next
I
generation
know
of
it's-
werewolf.
I know it's not what people are saying, but every time everyone says Kinseeker, I keep hearing Karen. Okay, I'm sorry.
Cairn?
Yeah, like, not that.
Oh,
All right, Melissa, you stalled long enough.
I am scrambling now.
I said
Because I
two
think
people could be from the
we've-
same tribe. There's no reason two people can't be from the same tribe, especially since you have different auspices. You might have different archetypes. Like it doesn't. You don't have to worry about, and it's perfectly fine. Like when we do later on, we do the relationship maps and stuff. You guys can have some shared history together. Like it's a good thing. It's not a bad thing to do it.
Because I was also thinking, well, and this is why I kind of need to think about it. I was also going to do Silent Strider Kinseeker.
Whoa!
Whoa. Melissa, back the hell off. I mean, Evan already picked it. What the heck?
Melissa,
I
might
already
I
got the last
propose
class. Come on, man.
I know, right? God, he did. That's fair. That's a
Shadow
fair point.
Lord's hacktivist.
No, I don't
with
mind you doing that.
the,
I could do like ambassador. My idea wasn't necessarily tied to Kinseeker. My idea was more about traveling, and so ambassador would make a lot of sense too, because they could just be trying to gain that knowledge and not lose it as they continue traveling. So if you want to do Kinseeker, we can be from the same one.
So I know that Ghost Council, while they're not necessarily like travelers and the messenger type, I do know that one of the things they do primarily care about is the concept of journeying, but that's also metaphorical to some degree as well. It's not always just the physical journey, but the spiritual or the intellectual journey and stuff. I do know that is a word that did come up with them, but it's a little different. But like if you're talking about like lore and keeper of history and finding, like, I think Ghost Council could also work too, if that's something you're interested in. And it's also wisdom. They're a wisdom based what's it called? Patron spirit.
Yeah, I'm trying to think because it's kind of that. I could also, because I don't think anybody else went Children of Gaia, right? I wasn't reading and not listening.
not yet. I don't think no.
I think we got Glasswalker from Kipser, Red Talons from Aaron, Heartwarden from Jeremy, and Silent Strider from Evan.
So I could do Children of Gaia.
Yep.
And I could do Wayfarer.
Okay. And again, the archetypes, like the archetypes are just there to help give you concepts. There's no mechanical connection to that at all. It's just there to kind of give you an idea of the type of people that might be within it. So you can always go off the book with that. All right. So you want to lock it in?
Spirit is a unicorn.
Yep.
I know. I had to make sure my patron spirit wasn't something I wasn't going to like.
Unicorns. Is
Yeah,
not
Yes,
there were a
that is the
couple-
most important.
It was for me.
There-
That was like half the battle, finding something cool.
Yeah, there were a couple that I was like, I don't know that that's my favorite. Like
Yeah.
patron spirit.
I am a little surprised and disappointed that Aaron didn't go Glasswalkers and be Spider, patron spirit.
Yes,
Spider.
I saw
I felt
that.
disappointed,
I saw that.
I thought about that, but we had already talked. Kipser and I had already talked, and she was interested in the technology side. So I was like,
That's fair.
I was going to
That's
go the
fair.
full wolf side.
That's good. Okay. Right on. All right. I
Callback.
think then we are done with auspices and tribes, and we can dig into some of the math. Okay. So let's get into your attributes. Attributes is there's no random rolling or anything like that. You have a spread and you're going to allocate them. This game's all about dots. If you look at the character sheets and such, like you'll see there's dots next to everything, and that the dots is always going to be important. So with attributes, there's three big categories. There's your physical attributes, there's your social attributes, and there's your mental. You all have played plenty of role-playing games. You know what they all mean, right? So strength, dex, stamina, charisma, manipulation, composure, intelligence, wits, resolve. So you kind of know probably what they mean. I will let you know though that certain attributes will contribute to things like health and willpower. So I would, unless you're intentionally doing it, be careful about making those your dump stats. So like stamina will contribute to your overall health, and then resolve and composure will contribute to your willpower. And so, not saying you necessarily have to. Just don't make it your dump stat. Basically, is all I'm saying. So the spread that you get to assign one attribute for. So whatever like your big important best attribute is, then you get 3 at 3, you get 4 at 2, and you get 1 at 1. So you have 1 at 4, 1 at 1, and then like everything else is basically 3s and 2s. So while they're figuring that out, I will go through some of the other things of what they are while they're allocating stuff. So physically, you got strength, you got dex, you got stamina. Strength, we all know what that means. Dex, stamina, those are kind of there, but there is a health pool. And so when they calculate their health, they're going to calculate it 3 plus their stamina. In this game, regeneration isn't hard, especially when you're in werewolf form. We've mentioned it already. Werewolves are pretty tough, so they're going to be able to, so there's not really going to be a ton of concern about them dying that way. From my understanding, death of a werewolf comes more from the 2 H's. That's all I'm going to refer to them as. Social, there's charisma, manipulation, and composure. Composure does go towards self-control, calming, calming influence, but it's also contributing to your willpower. There are times in which composure does come into play in terms of like your rage and things like that. If you like, it kind of fights against one another. And then mental intelligence is really about like your knowledge and memory, and wits is about like decision making, spur of the moment decisions, that kind of stuff. And then resolve is about your concentration, your attention, your focus, that kind of thing. So
I'm ready.
Okay, awesome. I'm gonna guess that you put your 4-1 in let's say charisma, right? We won't have to go through all of them, but what did you put your 4 in and what did you put your 1 in? I'm curious.
This is going to shock a lot of people when it comes to a red talon Alrune. I put my 4 in strength, and my 1 in intelligence. Since I can't use any technology skills anyway, why?
Yep. And so strength, exertion of force, the power of your muscles. Absolutely. When you're in various werewolf forms, you get natural weapons, claws, bites, stuff like that. Which isn't to say you can't use other weapons too, but you do get them there. Okay, very nice.
I have a bit of the opposite to Aaron, where I put my 1 in strength, but my 4 in wits.
Okay, 4 in wits. So fast decision making. Okay. Attentiveness, intuition. Good. All right. Anybody else have something they can read off?
Honestly, I will probably do this later.
Okay.
It's a few too many choices for me all at once.
No worries.
Yeah.
There are a lot of attributes. Just wait till we get to skills here in a sec. It's even more. So the way most roles work in Werewolf, you're brand new. It's a dice pool game, D10s, and what they're doing is they're putting dots in attributes. Most times you want to do something that has risk, or that runs the risk of failure in Werewolf. You got to make a pool. And your pool most commonly comes from a combination of how many dots you have in your attribute and how many dots you have in a skill that you want to use. And so, for instance, let's say you wanted to do something like, athletics. Okay, you're looking to just jump over a wall. That is a skill, and it would use probably strength in some cases, but it could probably use it could use dexterity sometimes too. And so you just take your total number of dots that you have in strength, total number of dots that you have in athletics. That's how many D10s you roll. 6s and above are successes. Anything below that is a fail. Crits come when you get multiple 10s. And then there's also like this complex thing that happens with brutal with brutal results. If their rage is high enough, that's like the complexity that'll come with werewolves. If your rage bar basically is too high up, you can start getting some brutal results, and things could potentially go wrong, or they can go very, very right, depending on what you're trying to do. It's a double-edged sword, rage. Okay. Anybody? Do we want to move on to skills, or do we have like an idea of like?
I did my attributes. I went 4 in intelligence, since that's made the most sense based on what I said.
Sure.
And 1 in strength, and I put 3 in dexterity. So I was thinking maybe he might use guns or something.
Okay.
The only strong one is going to be Aaron. We're all depending on it.
I'm going to be maybe not as strong, but I'll be close. The Heart Warden's going to be fairly tanky.
Okay.
Maybe not as much, but
okay. There are feats of strength. And so in this game, where if you try to like move, like flip a car and all that kind of stuff, so it's fun. Okay, so since it sounds like we're mostly close to attributes, and again, you guys can make changes between now and next week when we start. So if there's something you change, or even later as we start getting to other things like advantages and flaws and traits, and you decide you want to go back and tweak something, totally fine. Totally fine. So
just out of curiosity, how many people have more things in mental than other things?
Hold on, let me go back and take a look at mine. I am pretty sure I put
Sounds like at least 3 of us are higher
Yeah.
in mental.
I'll go a little more physical then. 'Cause
My
the Philodox has plenty of stuff they can also go.
Yeah.
Somewhat physical.
I'm 4 strength, 3 dex, 3 stamina. So I'm hard physical.
Physical, yeah.
And yeah, I mean, my social's all 2s, mental
Yeah, I was gonna
intelligence
ask.
is 1, and resolve is 3.
I'm like a mix.
anyone going have decent social?
I put a couple in
Okay.
charisma.
I mean, my
Yeah.
social's 2 down the line. So it's
I
not
have
terrible.
manipulation. I have 3 in manipulation.
Okay.
Okay, I put
So,
3
I
in
mean,
composure.
I mean, social
Manipulation
will
is
come
my
and
one.
play, so I don't want to like suggest that it's not like, and that's true not just with interacting with humans, but also interacting with other werewolves or other other folks. So it would be good to have at least some decent stuff there. Okay.
Someone should be a face.
Yeah, mine guy's not bad.
Okay. Okay, so let's get into skills then. So it's again, if you want to make any changes, go right ahead. Attributes are basically done. Like you're not going to do anything more with attributes really for the rest of so you're at where you're at. Skills, however, those are things that you can eventually do better at. But skills, there are a bunch, as you might expect. If you're looking at the character sheet, you can see that there's different skills under different categories: physical, social, and mental. So like there's those. Just because they're listed in those categories doesn't mean that they only associate with that attribute, though. You can mix and match however it makes sense. You don't necessarily have to always do the same combo. Now, the big thing with skills is that you basically have to choose. You have to choose one of 3 different point spreads. Because again, you're going to get a point spread to just allocate your dots. And there's 3 different ones that you can do. There's also skill specialties. We'll get into that in a second after you do your spreads. So it really depends on whether you want to be a jack of all trade, if you want to be balanced, or if you want to be a specialist. So if you really, really, really want to be good at like 1 or 2 very specific things, then you go specialist. If you want to be a fairly balanced character, then you go balanced. And if you want to just do a little bit of everything, but not necessarily excel at anything, then you got jack of all trades. And each one of those gives you a different number of skills. So if you want a lot of skills, it's jack of all trades. If you don't want that many, but you just want to be really, really good at a few, you go specialist. And then somewhere in between is balanced. So if you wanted to be a specialist, you get basically 10 different skills. And you get to put one of those at 4 dots, 3 at 3 dots, 3 at 2 dots, and 3 at 1 dot. So 1 at 4, 3 at 3, 3 at 2, 1 at 1. So 10 total skills. If you want to be balanced, you get 15 different skills. You get 3 at 3, 5 at 2, and you get 7 at 1. 15 different skills. And if you want to be a jack of all trades, where you're just good at a little bit of everything, but you don't really excel at one specific thing, you get 19 different skills. You get 1 skill at 3, you get 8 at 2, and you get 10 at 1.
I went middle road with when
Balanced.
we did Hunter,
Balanced.
and I might do that again. Kind of just do the balanced.
Okay.
I did specialist.
I'm going to run a specialist too.
technology.
Yeah, and specialist in technology.
It's all science and
It is, yeah.
politics.
I'm going science and
etiquette.
politics and etiquette. No, I figured I figured he was a wolf originally, so I kind of kept it all in the physical: survival, stealth, athletics, brawl, awareness.
Animal
that kind of
kin
stuff.
might not be a bad
Animal
one
kin.
too.
I got 2 in animal kin, and that's going to tie into one of my touchstones. So
Cool. I'm assuming your 4 was what, like brawl or
brawl,
Would you-
brawl.
yeah. Okay. So yeah, brawl. And so for those that might be new to the game, brawl is unarmed combat. Basically, melee is with a weapon. And then there's also firearms if you're shooting.
Mm.
So all of those are different types of combat. The thing with this game is everything is sort of a contested pool. So even in combat, it's kind of like you roll versus roll. But there's ways to quicken it on the lore master side or whatever. What am I called again? Game master? No, that's not what I'm called. Storyteller. That's what I'm called.
Yeah, that's it.
We're basically, even though I could roll dice most of the time, there's mechanics to speed things up, so I don't have to, and that's how I played Hunter. That's probably how I'm going to do this too. Okay. Anybody else go specialist or balanced, or did anybody go jack of all trades? What do you got, Kipser?
I also went specialist. Obviously, the 4 is in investigation with what I went with. And then I've got some 3s in things like awareness, streetwise, something else that I can't see right now. Firearms.
Okay, well, that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, like you're more of a tech, so you might be using guns more frequently. Yep. But even though you're a tech, doesn't mean like when you wolf out, you can't still bite and claw. Certain forms you can still use tools. Certain forms you can't. So if you go like full monster, you can't. But if you do like the teen wolf / saber-tooth form, you can still kind of use.
I can understand more than X-Men.
I know. What? Okay.
No, I'm joking.
Jeremy, what'd you end up going with? Did you pick
I'm
one of those
torn.
3?
I might do jack of all trades just to cover a wide spectrum of things. Because if I feel like the Heart Warden he's going to be decent. I like the idea that he'll be an okay fighter, but definitely second tier to our clear, Red Town Rune. But for the most part, he just kind of, this is his home. He's just kind of jack of all trades, helping out where he can.
Sure. I mean, I think it's actually really useful to have at least one person be jack of all trades, because there are so many skills and so many attributes. It's easy for something to pop up that no one has anything in, and if you have at least something in, yeah. Okay. Evan, did you decide on a route?
Yeah, I might be making some changes, but
It's fine.
On my tribe, I went with balanced. So I got to get like a lot of like academics. I went with 3, etiquette. I got 2, insight 2, leadership 3, persuasion 3, subterfuge 2. So I kind of got a lot of the charisma stuff, but a lot of the intel skills that I wanted.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So nothing in being strong or sneaky.
Right. So yeah, actually, out of curiosity, so like, is there anybody that kind of went stealthy, sneaky, roguey type ish?
I thought other people would cover it, so I have a few, but I didn't go. I've got larceny. I don't have stealth, but
My stealth is
streetwise.
My stealth is 3.
Yeah,
and my dex is 3, so I'm fairly stealthy. And I was thinking about doing my specialty might end up being in stealth.
Yeah. Okay. In typical fashion, I'm 1 step behind. I'm like, 3 dex, 2 stealth.
What about something like a cult? Anyone take anything in a cult?
Yeah.
1 point.
Okay.
Oh, if a bunch of people took a cult, I might switch over.
Yeah, that's the other thing is like once we get our character sheets, we'll share them with each other. We can make some changes then if there's things we want to tinker with. We still have time, but that would be good because like especially if we're doing things with like Umbra or doing things with Spirit, it could be good to have somebody at least who can kind of tap into some of that info. Okay, all right. So not to make it even more complicated, but there, in addition to skills, there are what are called skill specialties. A skill specialty is a very narrow, specific use of a skill. It is not something that you're going to tap into all the time. It should not be so broad that you can tap it into all the time. It's something that should only pop up very specific situations. At the start of the game in character creation, you get 1 skill specialty and a skill of your choice that you have put points into. Okay, and you can come up with them. They don't have to necessarily be things that you grew out of the book, but like you can make it sort of however you want. Now that could be any skill you want that you put points in. If, however, you also put points into certain skills, those being academics, craft, performance, and science, you get another free specialty in those. And it's separate from the other one, but it's very specific.
Does anyone have any of those?
Yeah, I have 4 academics.
I have
Okay, so
I have
you get-
science.
Sorry.
Okay, so Evan,
Nice.
you would get 1 free academic specialty,
And then I would
Kipser-
pick another one.
and then you would get another one in a different.
That could be something different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you could technically put it in academics because you can have a number of specialties up to the amount of dots you have in a skill.
Oh, it says I have 3. Oh, okay. That's
Yeah.
a lot.
So you get, but everyone gets 1 for free in any skill. But then specifically, if you've got academics, craft, performance, or science, you also can take a free specialty in those. And that's true later in the game too. Like if you decide to get it some other point, you can also get it then. So like if you take a point in it when you're,
So you
for
could do
instance,
like,
be
I
later.
could say academics and then say cartography,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to do that.
I guess it would be like biology
Yep. I
because
think
you'd
that's
be
good.
looking at fingerprints and dead bodies.
I would say biology. I would probably grant it when you're actually studying something that would probably. I mean, I probably wouldn't apply it to fingerprints. But if you were doing like
It's human oil.
it's too broad. So that's the thing. If you can't pick something that's too broad, but if you try to apply it
That's
to
fair.
like a dissection, like if you're dissecting something, then I would have. Then yeah, it makes sense there.
Okay.
So does anybody have craft or performance?
Yeah, I've got craft, performance, academics.
Yeah, I will have craft. I'm still working on my list of 15 things that I'm
Sure.
picking, but I'm going to add craft. I may have a science in there. I think it would make sense. I'm not sure exactly what it would be. But yeah, I do think I will have some craft along the way.
So one of my gifts I can get is like doing some sort of special brew. So I think for my craft, I might be like an actual legitimate, like I make craft beer.
That's
Right.
awesome. That's fantastic.
Nice.
And I play an
Nice.
acoustic guitar.
Wow.
I love that.
You're basically describing
gonna
what I
be-
wanted to be when I was 22 years old.
He's gonna be like one step removed from remember Roy Fowler? Be pretty from the Aliens game.
Oh,
The old ex-marshal guy. I'm thinking something similar to that. Just general disposition.
I like it. He was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Okay. You also, since you said you also had performance, and so you're going to get 1 for performance, you're going to get 1 for craft. So again, you get 1 for all those, and then you just get a free 1 to put anywhere you want.
Yeah.
And-
Academics, maybe chemistry.
Eric, you asked if there's a Foundry module. There's a Foundry module for World of Darkness 5th edition, except it doesn't yet have the werewolf sheet. It has like the vampire sheet. It has like the hunter sheet. We used it when we played Hunter. It has a couple others. So we're kind of using the mortal sheet and then tweaking it. I think they're working on one to sort of update the module. So, but it's functional. It's mostly functional. It's just the rage die isn't going to quite work just yet. And so, yeah, if you're coming up with specialties right now and you're not sure if it's like too broad, it's something we could tweak later. It's the type of thing where like if you're putting it down and you're going to try to tap into it like every time you make a roll, then it's just too broad. Like it really is.
How about with stealth? I was thinking the specialty of shadowing like a target, following somebody. Is that too broad?
Specifically following somebody, like tailing somebody.
Yeah, tailing somebody.
Yeah, I mean, put it down. I think put it down. That'll probably work. Okay. And if anyone has
I have to
ideas,
add
throw them
more.
out. What do you got, Jeremy?
I'm trying to figure out on that the web character creator, like how to add more than one special.
If you got to press enter after you type it in.
Yeah, it's a little glitchy. The Shrek net.
Yeah, it'll tell you how many specialties
Yeah.
you have remaining at the top, and then
It says
It
the- in the
doesn't
red.
limit them though, so it'll give you a big drop down menu, and so when you start to put in the very specific ones for academics and craft, it'll still let you pick from things you
Yeah.
shouldn't be able to pick from. Just be aware of that. Okay. All right. And then if anybody needs help coming up with one, like we can brainstorm it together too.
Yeah, I'm thinking of going Silver Fang instead.
Oh, nice.
And I was thinking of doing etiquette, and I was like, I put courtship, which I don't know if that's relevant to the game at all. I was just thinking they're like part of, a little bit of
if you're picking it, like this is generally how I try to run games. If I see it on a person's character sheet, that to me, you're telling me that's what you want to do. And so I'm going to try to find a way to put it in game. So if you're putting courtship, Evan, I'm just going to have to make NPCs that are going to flirt with you. That's just all it's going to be.
Well, it's more of like in the noble hierarchy.
No, that's not how I view it. I'm sorry.
This feels like a request for yearning.
I mean, I'm just saying, like Aaron's been the subject of it. Jeremy, it's your turn.
Okay. Maybe
No. If you put it there, though, I will definitely, we'll definitely find a make.
And then I was thinking I was going to do persuasion. I put mediator. Like his idea was like, does that make sense? I like to like not if tensions are high,
right.
He doesn't want things to escalate.
So I would probably say that would apply if like you come into a situation, there's two different groups that are arguing and you're like, hey, calm down. Like it'll apply there. Like that's the type of thing where I would say, I think that makes sense. Like you're trying to talk,
like third party mediation.
Yeah, that's kind of how I would say it'll apply. All right. Any other thoughts on specialties? Again, you can come up with them over the next week. So if you're
there's white collar crimes, blue collar crimes, and the distinction was that the white collar crimes is like thieving stuff, and blue collar crimes are I'm wrong. Aaron, please correct me.
White collar crime is like
high finance,
corporate, high finance, non-violent. It's not violent. Yeah. It's usually not the
not that one then.
Yeah, you probably don't want that one.
Not that one. Blue collar. Okay.
So
then it probably just
like insider trading is like white collar.
Okay.
White collar.
Probably not.
I will say this. Well, I will say this. Like that is possible to come into play. One of the major enemies is Pentex Group, which is a big old gigantic worldwide conglomeration. They have all sorts of these different shell companies and things like that, and so it's not like that won't come into play. Melissa took I think finance last time, and it came into play a little bit, not a ton because we went down other routes, but it did come into play. So it's not that corporate malfeasance, and considering the game we're going environmental. Like a lot of companies that are just screwing over the environment and abusing it, like it could come into play. So I don't think it's like immediately out. Not gonna work.
All right. I'll throw in white collar then.
Cool. I like it. All right.
For something like athletics, if you're somebody that could run a marathon legitimately, would like endurance be?
I mean, honestly, I would put long distance running. I would just put
long distance. Okay, I'll do that. So I gave myself 4 stamina.
Nice.
Okay. Yeah, and I think that would come into play. Like I don't necessarily know that it would come into play if you were trying to hold your breath underwater, but it would certainly come into play if you guys were like running for hours throughout the desert from whatever. Like it'll come into play then. All right. Cool. Do we want to move on to the next phase? Are we all feeling good enough? And feel free to make any changes, by the way. Any changes you want, and we can chat it over the next week if there's something I can help with.
Yep.
Okay, so let's dive into the next section, which is advantages. Advantages are basically, they're talents, their abilities, their special powers, stuff like that. But there's different kinds. There's different categories. There's merits and there's flaws. And they're not special powers. That's gifts. But they're like little extra things that you can get to help you get support with like maybe knowledge you have or resources you have access to, people you might have access to, that sort of thing. So there's merits and there's background, and then there's also flaws. And just like this, everything else in this game is all about points. And so you're able to put 7 points into merits and backgrounds, and you have to put 2 points into flaws. So if you're following along in the character creation thing, you can see advantages and flaws. There's a bunch of different merit ones. There's like Cairn, day job, linguistics. So if you're the type of person who so Evan, if you want to know languages, for instance, like you can grab another language with linguistics, and you can see how there's like a number of dots next to each of the names. That's how many points you would have to invest. And you can invest up to 7 points in any kind of advantage, whether it's a merit or a background, but you still have to invest 2 points into flaws. Now, a lot of the advantages have flaws, but not all of them. And you can see the flaw could be a 1 point or it might be a 2 point. So something like looks, for instance, is a merit. Looks, if you put four dots into it, you're stunning. And that means you get to actually add extra dice to any relevant social dice pool that might involve your good looks. But you can also, if you wanted to, instead take it as a 2 point flaw, and you could be repulsive. And so you lose 2 dice from relevant social dice pools. And so these are things that you're using to just sort of help define your character. It's not the special power stuff. We'll get into that later. This is more about your resources. This is more about like your look. This is about what you have access to, that kind of thing.
Oh man, I already know the flaw I'm taking.
What do you got, man?
If I'm doing local legend and I've been here for a long time, I'm a person of interest.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Just
okay,
for better or for worse.
That works. I thought you were going to go stalker. You've been around for a while. People know who you are, and you've got a stalker.
Person
that might be fun too.
That actually is pretty.
Person
good
of
too.
interest is good.
Oh wait, or is stalker or the other way? Aren't someone stalking? Because it didn't actually take stalker, except she was being stalked when we did.
So
Hunter.
flaw
Stalker,
is
yeah.
stalker. Someone follows you for the wrong reason.
Okay. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Okay. All right.
Yeah, that was when we were doing the relationship map, and she picked someone in that phase.
Okay.
So I went with stunning. She's really good looking in human form, which he finds unusual, and moonriled because he is much closer to the wolf. And his flaws, I took folkloric bane. So he also takes aggravated damage from weapons with moonstones in them, along with silver.
There are going to be a lot of moonstone weapons.
I know. That's what I figured. I thought to myself,
it's like, for some reason, there's just
and
the moon
and the moon fell to the ground, and they just picked the rocks up and started throwing them at him. And dark secret.
Ooh. Okay. Your terrible.
Jeremy, did you pick contacts?
That's kind of what I was looking through. I want to do either contacts, or I was tempted to do allies. Like, and just put like for a brief second, I was tempted to just go nuts and go all 7 points in allies, like 4 for like effectiveness and 3 for reliability, just because he knows a lot of people here and they like him enough that they are readily willing to help. Or I was tempted to do the mask, or basically the thing where you have a day job, and just he has a bar, and he has people to vouch for him. I'm not sure mechanically which is the better way to go.
Like again, I have ideas for what certain antagonists and stuff like that, but I'm leaving it very flexible because like I want to build it around what you all are picking. So like if you're picking certain things, if you're picking something, if you want to pick false identity, if you want to pick like you have fake documentation, like then I'm going to make that a possible thing in the story, right? Like someone's looking around.
If I'm a brewer, I'm going to take the 2 point corroborated day job. Like I actually have a bar, and there are people that whether it's true or not will just back me up. Okay, corroborated day job.
Okay, right on. All right. And like the small PDF doesn't go into like the full description. Like if you look in the core rulebook, obviously there's like fuller descriptions of these things.
Sure. Is anybody doing Karen access?
Yeah, I was gonna do that.
Okay.
Karen access.
You have access to Karen?
Amazing. Does your hair turn like blonde and start elevating a bit?
I think I'm definitely going to take a talisman because that just sounds fun.
Nice.
For sure.
Karen access is a good one.
It is.
That makes sense.
It does.
Yeah, I definitely like that one. I feel like probably linguistics if I've been kind of a traveler around.
Mm-hmm. So there, I am going to lean pretty heavily probably into the spirit stuff. So that's going to pop up. So talisman isn't a bad idea. I think it makes sense. So anyone who's dealing with spirits and things like that. So it, you know, you could like if anyone's interested, like spirit pact could be could be a fun thing too. So don't feel like, you know, avoidant of it. Let's see. If anyone wanted to do lore sheets, there's specific ones that I would recommend over others. Let's see.
Oh, yeah, that could be cool.
Yeah, so like there's specific factions that I would recommend that are probably going to play a little bit greater role than others. So like I already mentioned, like expect like the Black Spiral, which are like werewolves that have basically gone to the dark side, so to speak. So they would probably have probably a bigger role than I would say werewolf hunters. I can't remember their name of them. Twilight something. I can't remember.
Project Twilight.
Project Twilight. Thank you. Probably not as much those, but maybe if you wanted that though, I would find a way to move them in.
Anybody else know what their flaw is going to be?
Oh yeah, I know
Grab
mine.
substance abuse.
Okay.
Like the casual way, because just yeah, I grab substance abuse.
Well, you know, traditional detective.
Mine
is
is
particular
for
substance.
sure going to be. Oh, go
Yeah,
ahead.
that's what I'm debating. But let's let Evan actually talk.
Oh no, you're good. I'm trying to figure out where it was. Oh,
mean,
my
there's
fall's going to be
cocaine.
adversary.
Ooh, okay. A rival Garu wants to hurt you.
Mhm.
Okay, you're gonna take it at
Nice.
1 or 2 points, or 1 or 2
Gonna
dots.
be 2.
Oh, I'm totally gonna fucking kill you with him then.
Probably. That's why he's trying to surround himself with strong people.
Nice.
I
That's why he
might
hangs out with Aaron all the time.
Yeah, this guy's my best bud. I don't even like him.
Oh.
Okay, that's fair. That is
Jesus.
fair.
Oh goodness.
I might do pact condition as a
Okay.
flaw. So the pact requires regular performance or avoidance of a particular action.
Mm-hmm.
So
All right, we'll define that
there's-
a little bit.
some kind of a like sacrifice or something that like has to be like completed on a regular basis or whatnot.
What's that under? Is that under Spirit Pack?
Spirit pact.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So it does require that you take Spirit Pack though.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
All right. No, that's gonna be fun. Like I really want to dig into the Ember stuff. So if you do that, we can chat about what to make
Yeah,
that
I've got
spirit,
a
et cetera.
talisman. I've got a spirit
Mhm.
pact. Like I'm definitely going in that.
I was thinking there's gonna be an urban, probably gritty, real. I think I'm gonna change my mind. Just get gears. Keep it down to earth.
I'm slowly building like a first time paranormal. Was a human detective, now dipping into the paranormal.
Mhm.
Awesome.
So it's low, but it can, yeah,
No, I like that.
because stuff went wrong.
Got too close in one of your cases.
Well,
Okay.
those that corporation did not like me looking at their bank records.
How are we doing? You guys still want more time?
Yeah.
More time?
If someone else was doing the Spirit Pact, I might look at a talisman or something. That'd be fun.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna get the wind whistle,
Mm-hmm.
especially with an adversary. It like lets you make it harder for people to track you. So since he's
Sure.
like traveled a lot,
Yeah, I think contacts are helpful to have like a range of people to loop in.
Yeah. So one of the things we'll do at the end is we'll do our relationship map. You'll find some of your touchstones, but you'll also we'll define not necessarily as advantages, but we'll define a few NPCs. It could be other people within the sept, and it could be just regular humans that we know. We don't have to if you don't want to invest points in contacts right now, you're still going to have people you can talk to. It's just you can't rely on them the way you automatically can with an advantage. It's just the big difference. So
Yeah,
you'll still
that was fun when we did Hunter, where it's like depending on like how many pips you have in it, it's like a percentile die roll to see if they like answer your call, how reliable they are. No, you leave them a voicemail, they do not call you back.
They do not. And I have no problem really fucking over your touchdowns. You can ask Aaron about what I did to his touchdown, like right off the bat, like the hook. It's like, you don't have any eyes anymore. Take that. It's fun. Okay, so if you're still picking some advantages, I get it. I mean, this is a pretty big one. But I will, for those who are ready to move on, let me talk about renown for a sec. So renown comes in 3 forms. I already mentioned this before. It's tied to your spirit, your patron spirit. There's glory, honor, and wisdom. Glory is about a history of violent or otherwise dramatic triumphs. Honor is a history of justice, righteousness, and respect. Wisdom is a history of sound judgment and thoughtfulness. Now, renown, you automatically get 2 dots in renown associated with your tribe, with your patron spirit. And then you get to assign a dot to one of the other 2 renowns. So if you're owl, for instance, if that's your patron spirit, you get 2 in wisdom, and then you pick 1 more in the other 2. Now, these are going to come into play when you pick your gifts. So gifts are those powers, basically. Like that's what I was talking about before. So like there are things that you can do, the supernatural angle of the werewolf. And there are different kinds. There are native gifts, there are auspice gifts, and there are tribe gifts. Native gifts, anyone can take, basically. Auspice gifts are specific to whatever auspice you took. And then tribe gifts are specific to your tribe. Now, the other thing is that they also a lot of these gifts are associated with some of those renown, or they require you to do a role that includes that renown. So if there is a specific power or gift you like, you should take a look to see with which renown that's kind of associated with, and you might want to put your extra point to there or whatever it might be when it comes to the kind of your renown. But there's a lot of different things that you can do with your powers, like auspice gifts, for instance, like the Ragabash. You could do blissful ignorance, which allows you to stand unseen. You can use mockery to cause superficial willpower to damage to people with crow's laughter. You can use gremlins, Kipser, which causes a device to malfunction. Spider song, you can eavesdrop.
Already took both those.
Did you really? You took gremlins? Nice. Good choice. I love it.
Yeah.
And Spider Song lets you eavesdrop on electric communication. So at the start, at character creation, you get 1 native gift, 1 auspice gift, and 1 tribe gift. So you get 1 from each. So 1 that anyone can take, 1 that only your auspice can take, and 1 that only your tribe can take. Fears can do ensnare spirit. They can stop a spirit and make it susceptible to further gifts. Mother's touch. They can heal other physical living creatures. They can do shadow sense. They can sense unseen creatures in the supernatural. They can also do sight from beyond, which is prophetic visions. Theurge, it's you, right, Melissa? Yeah.
Yes, that is me. Is anyone else? I was thinking about shadow sense. Would that step on anybody else's like super aware creatures, sensory stuff?
No, I think I went with. I'm sure Aaron and I might have the same native gift.
What'd you pick?
I was thinking Raging Strike. I wouldn't be surprised if you did too.
No, I actually went with cat feet.
Okay, so there we go. We're a little bit different there.
Cool.
Nice. What else did other people pick?
I should get my
Numbral
gifts
sense as
first.
well.
Sorry.
I accidentally clicked on the wrong section first as well in the character sheet creation.
So what gifts did you pick, Jeremy?
I did Raging Strike, Blessed Brew, Porcupine's Reprisal, which is kind of like if you hurt me, you get hurt for hurting me.
Nice.
And then Rite of the Living Cairn, kind of helping to maintain a cairn. keep it
Oh,
alive.
okay.
so to
You
speak.
picked the right at the end. Yeah. A right is another thing you all get.
Oh, that's a different thing. But yeah, it was in the
it's kind of the same
area.
thing. It's like a ritual type of thing. It's less in the moment. It's more like a thing about but it's sort of the same thing. Okay. So going through the native gifts, by the way, really fast. These are the things that anyone could take. Cat feet, like Aaron just took, is gain a supernatural sense of balance. Eyes of the owl lets you see in the dark. Hare's leap lets you leap great distances. Penumbral senses, which I think Kipser you said you took. Is that right? You perceive the spirit in mundane worlds. Raging strike, which Jeremy took, lets you deal extra damage with brawl attacks. And then stare down can cause humans and animals to get out of your way. So those are native gifts. Anyone can take those, and they're
We
each
have to take one of
associated.
them, right? Yeah, one of
Yeah, you
each
have to take
type.
one.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And in
Which are you
the
taking, Evan?
I was thinking stare down. I'm not really sure how useful it is. It's hard to tell with what that description is, but that was that or eyes of
That'd be pretty
owl
good.
were the two options I was thinking.
Just to throw things off, I might do hair's leap. Just to do something that isn't all
Alright, I'll
sensory
take-
related.
Stare down.
Okay, so stare down. So the gift can be used on any single human or animal within 2 meters with whom the Garo can establish eye contact. It succeeds automatically on mundane humans and animals and causes the target to get out of the werewolf's way while averting their eyes, if not outright groveling. Supernatural creatures and humans aware of the Garo and their powers are unaffected unless the player wins a charisma plus honor versus composure plus resolve test. So a lot of these gifts, just so you all know, like you make your pool usually based attribute plus renown. So you have to have honor for this. So charisma plus honor versus composure plus resolve. And you can use that in any form. Some of the gifts are limited to the form. So any form you can use that in.
So if a
Okay.
gift relies on wisdom, honor, or glory, it means that you needed to have put.
At least 1 point in it.
You have to have at least 1 point in it. Yep.
Gotcha.
Okay, you probably just said that and I wasn't listening because I was reading. And
It's all good. Lots of stuff going on. It's all good.
Let me make sure I did that right. I did not.
Okay. Well, then
I'll
stare down
definitely-
sounds pretty cool.
It is pretty cool, I think, actually.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Did you put stuff in honor then?
If I'm going to Silver Fangs, they get honor.
Okay, so that's
That's
your
our number
that's
one.
your so
Okay.
you'll have 2
And then
in
I
honor.
picked I think I'm gonna do wisdom, but I'm gonna have to read
Okay.
up what the other ones are.
Okay, I cannot take hair's leap then because I was not going to put points in glory. So
You can.
never mind. It's
You can put a point in glory. Like you have 2 from your default patron spirit, but then you have 1 to put in either of the other 2 categories. So if you really want
I will because I actually wanted to do Mother's Touch because I don't think anybody else is doing healing. And Mother's Touch is glory related. So if I get glory, then I can get Hair's Leap and I can do Mother's Touch for healing.
Okay.
So I will do glory for my 2 and wisdom.
All right. Sounds good.
Cool.
Let's see. Anybody have any gifts that they've taken that we haven't heard yet?
Just the native gift was cat feet that I took. Yep.
Cat feet. Yeah. Okay.
And
Yeah,
then what
that
did you
list-
do for your Red Talon?
For Red Talon, I took Hidden Killer. I have the ability to mask kills. Basically, I lick whatever wound there is, like knife wound, claw wound, bullet wound, and it just disappears. Any evidence, even down to forensic evidence, completely disappears. So it leaves, if we kill a bunch of people, the cops aren't going to be tracking us down for it. As long as I have enough time to deal with the situation.
Sure. Yeah.
Like, did you guys have to please not go overkill with the bullet wounds? Because I have to like every single one of these to
Every
make them go
god-
away. So can you
Bullet
not
wounds.
spray them next time?
It's like, give me the submachine gun. Give me the submachine gun. You're off submachine gun.
All right.
But it's my favorite gun.
I just like how Jeremy. Remember how when we were going to play Goblin Quest, and I was making the little subtitles for everybody. Remember the one I put for Aaron?
Yes.
Hides the
Hide the
bodies.
bodies.
He takes this. It's just
Hey,
perfect.
you,
It's perfect.
you got to figure that, you got to be prepared to hide the body.
I think it's an extraordinarily useful skill, both in game and in life, to be honest.
I agree. But not from personal experience, as far as anyone knows.
Yeah, agreed. And that is what our lie detector test will tell us.
Exactly.
There was now I've got to go back because I swear there was like an advantage or something that had to do with no, I can't find it. I thought there was something that I read that had to do with like having a connection to like a fake IDs or that kind of a thing.
Yeah, it's called mask.
Go with also.
That's
Yeah,
mask.
Mask,
Yeah.
that's what it was.
Yeah.
You can forge your source a false identity.
Yeah.
Cover our tracks. We can hide the bodies.
So rights, God, there was something I was going to say about rights, and I totally forget what it was. There's one I was going to recommend somebody take, and I cannot for the life of me remember which one it was. But rights are, they're more like, think about like ritual magic in a way, or it's like customs practices, things like that. In some cases, it allows you to regain rage. And like that, not an uncommon one to use, or it could help you shed rage in a way that isn't harmful. So there's different ones that are particularly useful. And again, they have their pool defined and everything like that. But it's not, unlike some of the gifts, which are like in combat actions and stuff like that. Rights are more like outside, it's not really that.
I like that there's a little bit for everything, like a little bit for wisdom, a little bit for honor, a little bit for glory.
I wouldn't mind if one of you took Rite of Shadow Passage. Rite of Shadow Passage lets a pack briefly open a way between the physical world and the Umbra, which allows the werewolves to pass from one to the other or back again.
Gotcha.
So it would not be that has to do with occult. So any of you who actually took some occult, it's for occult plus any renown. So it doesn't have a specific renown tied to it, but it is tied to occult. So it wouldn't be a bad one to have.
Nice. If somebody does that, I'll be able to help out once we're in there. I'm going to do the lore sheet for Umbral Traveler.
Okay.
I don't mind taking it.
Okay.
I'm going to take the dot for Silver Steps so I can kind of see our steps in the Umbral, make it easier for us to find our way. And then take web music where you can kind of see the weave.
Yeah. Yep.
And it says you can pluck it musically, which I figure is perfect if you're somebody who already plays guitar.
Makes perfect sense. Yeah. Umbral
I actually-
Traveler.
I like the shape that's coming with yours, Jeremy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you going to say, Kipser, you're going to say something?
You're muted. We talked over you. No, you're muted.
Yeah.
Whoops. I did actually take the talisman. It's a one-time use, but I switched to the spirit catcher, but I was going to take the shadow shard. I can go back to that one as well and really dip in on the Umbra.
Cool. Okay. All right. Anybody else have rights or gifts they want to shout out right now?
I took for my other gift, I took claws and where is it at? Hold on. Here we are, gifts. Sorry. Yeah, I took
You
razor
took cat
claws.
feet, and then razor
Uh,
claws, and then hide the body.
cat feet, hidden killer, and razor claws, and Rite of Rage.
Cool. Rite of Rage is a good one. So there are, if you run out of rage, so like sometimes you make rage checks. There's certain ways you might get down to 0 rage, and there's 2 ways you basically get back from 0 rage to 1. That is one of them, and then the other is like howling at the moon, basically. Yeah, but it only happens. It's only like for the first time.
So do you want to have just 1 rage and like going over that is like excessive, or
rage is a track. It's going to ebb and flow between 1 and 5 normally, and occasionally it'll drop all the way down to 0. But for the most part, it's going to be between 1 and 5. The higher your rage goes, the more likely of brutal outcomes on your rolls, which depending on what you're trying to do could be a very, very good thing or a very, very bad thing. So it's going to go up.
If you have less dice to roll potentially, then it could be better.
Yeah.
Because I can get Blood of the Pact for the silver. What is it? Silver Fangs?
Silver Fangs.
And it lets other members roll the rage check, but for you, like with yours.
Mm-hmm. So if you're
Members of the
type
pack can make
person-
rage checks for one another.
Yeah. So if
That's
you're the
nice.
type of person who is going to be like, I mean, I could see like that might be useful if you're going to be composed and other people are going to go crazy, like Aaron's going to go crazy or Jeremy's going to be with their crazy rage. And you don't want them necessarily doing that, because if they rage in a specific situation and they go into a frenzy, which is what can happen, then bad things can transpire. And that
They could
could be a
attack
way.
us, I imagine, right?
Maybe I can't remember if there's any specific rules for pack on pack action, but it definitely you have to like kill something around. I think it's something like that with frenzy or you have
Yeah,
to, like,
similarly,
make rage checks.
I was looking at that too, because with Children of Gaia, there's a Song of Serenity that
Mhm.
can lower your pack's rage. I couldn't take it because I didn't take honor, but I was
Sure.
thinking the same thing. Like there must be a benefit at some point too. Like, okay, we all need to like calm the hell down.
Yeah, and these
So, like,
aren't just starting stuff, by the way. You will be improving and getting stuff as we go. All right. Okay. So you can, again, just like with the advantages and flaws and everything else, keep reading, especially if you've been only following the short PDF. Go into the actual rule book, look through that, because like the full description will give you more details on exactly how it applies instead of just the short summary. And so the summary might not exactly work in mechanical sense the way you're thinking. And obviously, like I'll check your sheets just to make sure everyone's got everything hammered out accordingly when the time comes. But if everyone's ready to kind of move on from gifts and you can kind of come back to it, we got about half an hour left. I do want to hit on our touchstones and some of our relationship map stuff, because this is the types of things that are going to help me make scenarios for you.
Relationship map.
So touchstones, you're going to have between 1 and 3. It's up to you how many you have. The more you have, the better you're able to kind of like, this is sort of thematically the idea. The more touchstones you have, the more you're able to mitigate the monstrous impulses. But it's also the more vulnerable you are, because touchstones are people that you keep around you, and it's try to balance out your wolf essentially, and like your human nature. So it's trying to keep them balanced. Touchstones are normally people who don't have any knowledge of the supernatural. That's not a hard and fast rule, but I would say try to stick to it unless you have a very specific idea. So the examples they have are things like spouses, parents, love interests, etc. Anything basically would work. But there are people that you're close to in some way. There are also people that could potentially get put into danger. Like that is not just, I'm not doing it just because I'm a dick. I'm doing it because like it's part of the game. So like with Aaron, you had Brock as one of your touchstones. I put him in our 100 game. I put him into danger right off the bat. Melissa,
hard.
Yeah, he's had a rough life. Melissa had a touchstone. Hers died actually. Hers was killed.
Mentor.
I killed her.
Yeah, Aaron did. I think Aaron killed her. Yeah, so they will potentially come into danger. I'm not trying to say that to scare you away. I'm just saying like when you pick them, if you're gonna pick, like if you want to have a spouse, just understand that your spouse might be threatened and might be killed.
Don't pick them as a touchstone.
Exactly.
You don't want them possibly in harm's way.
So you get 1 to 3. You have to have at least one. So even Aaron, I know you're all you're a wolf, but because yours can be a little different, because you could actually have a wolf touchstone. If you wanted to go that route.
I got 3. I'm ready.
You want all 3? Okay. So what we'll do is back on Foundry, if you're still on Foundry, you can kind of type the names of them kind of near your name. So you all should have access to the tools. Use the pencil, the draw text stuff. Like there's a if you click on the drawing tools, which is the pencil, and then you go to the draw text, which is like the A, the font thing, you can actually draw a little box and type the names. And so you just type the names of your people and like who they are. They're more than likely people who have nothing to do with the supernatural. If you have an idea for somebody who you want to have knowledge of the supernatural, just throw it out there. We can work it out. So
now I do have one idea. Now my dark secret is that actually one of the closest beings I have here in Arizona is a gangrel vampire named Isabel, who I hunt with at night sometimes. Now, I don't know if she would actually be a touchstone, but she's definitely a dark secret, but she might be a touchstone. That's up to you.
Let's make it a touchstone. Absolutely. Right. That's you dirty, dirty dog.
Well, that's the thing
Um,
about like the red talons. They don't really see the worm as the big bad guy. They think the worm and the wild should be in balance. They think the weaver
Sure.
is the real problem.
I know, but I don't know.
Oh, I know. I know.
rest
That's
of
why
the
it's a
wolves
dark
are gonna like
secret.
you running around with a leech like that. But hey.
I know. That's the dark secret. I love it.
Okay. Yeah, I say do it. Do it. I like it. We do. There are vampires and phoenixes. We know. So they're both in real life and in the game. So yeah. Okay. And again, as many as you want, like 1 to 3, whatever number you want, but at least 1. There are times in which if your touchstone actually gets threatened, there are rolls that we sometimes have to do. So it will probably happen at some point that a touchstone will get put into danger. All right. Anyone have something? We heard one from Aaron. Anyone have an idea?
Deputy Quinn.
Deputy Quinn. Okay.
We known each other for a long time.
I
Unfortunately, his friendship to me has kept him from promoting as much as he might have liked to for the time he's put into it. But he's a good soul.
Okay. I'm trying to remember. I have some people in some places from Hunter. If like there's anything you have in mind, I could also throw some stuff out there as well. So if you have anything like church related, or we have a couple of those. Cop wise, I think we briefly had one, but it wasn't a very big part. So I think Deputy Quinn sounds great. I'm trying to remember his name. Villafranco. He was a detective, though. He wasn't a deputy.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I think you briefly talked to him. It wasn't really he wasn't a major presence. Okay, awesome. Anybody else have one?
Riley Archer, also a detective partner of mine, from around when I saved my life when I got shot, but doesn't know.
Okay.
Also in the police, I guess.
I mean, it's up to you two, but would you want to merge and make one?
Well, we might be a detective agency, right? So it might be that it's separated that way.
Okay, so Riley Archer is a private detective.
Private detective.
Okay.
I'm going private.
Okay.
More
perfect.
money that way.
All right. Okay, sounds good. All right. Melissa, you got one?
I'm going to have to find my notes because I made a contact for Hunter that I think it was Hunter that I didn't ever use. And it was basically like a store owner, but it was kind of like the kind of store you'd see in Sedona. So, kind of, and I'm blanking on like an Energies kind of store, and the word is escaping me, but like I had put together like a contact for Hunter that I never used. So I think I'm going to recycle that because I think that would make sense, probably more sense with this character.
All right.
Because it was like a madam something or another. Like,
okay, I have it right here. I'm looking up to see what you've got. I don't see anyone like that though, because you were Maria Baum.
It's in one of my handwritten notes. Like I can picture it in like a margin note that I had made at one point.
Yeah, it's not on your character sheet though. So yeah.
Yeah, but it's like Madam somebody's something or another store. So it's kind of like the contact is the person and also crystals like their business. Exactly.
Gotcha. I know we had a psychiatrist, we had an exorcist. Sister LeBlanc, she was big. She had a big presence. The psychiatrist, not really. Yeah, definitely nobody. And then if you want to have an 8-year-old child and never help her, that we do have.
Chat was talking about like cute.
Our buddy Long, he played a guy who had a dojo. If anyone wants a dojo, I have dojo ideas as well from before. And he was the worst father. He was just leaving his 8-year-old all alone.
In the middle of making paella. So all right, kiddo, you finish up.
It was risotto. I think it was risotto.
Oh, risotto. That's what it was. That's right.
Stealing it. All right.
Risotto.
These are typically supposed to be human contacts, right?
Yeah, there is an exception for possibly having wolf contacts. Like if you turned amongst wolves, and then you could potentially have wolf contacts as opposed to human contacts. So that's why I was saying with Aaron, I know he was Red Talon. But
so I've got
it's not limited.
Robin, a vet, at the Eagle Tail Mountain Wolf Sanctuary there in Tonopah, Arizona.
We actually had the
Tonopah.
Great Spirit Animal Sanctuary in our hunter camp. It was something somebody put on. I don't think we ever did anything with it, but there was a Great Spirit Animal Sanctuary. I'll dig back through my notes to see if we can overlap it.
This one's this Eagle Tail is a real one, but I'm happy to use the other one.
Yeah.
And then I've got her as a vet, and Cracked Fang is an old wolf in the pack at this sanctuary, and that's how I stopped when I came out to Arizona. Is
Okay.
I found a place in this sanctuary, and then of course my last is Isabel, the gangrel vampire.
Right on.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
that's
do
why I
a
asked, 'cause-
hypnotist for my
Oh,
other
nice.
one. Like we never used the
Okay.
therapist, but like in this area, we've got some folks that do like hypnotherapy stuff, which just sounds like something that like she just thinks they're amusing. I would
like it.
say.
I like it. Jeremy, what do you got?
Oh, well, so for my second one, I've got Garrett Dalton. He works at the Roadhouse. It is, of course, an amalgamation of two of the characters from Roadhouse.
Of course. I know. It's when I started laughing right off the bat. Okay.
And yeah, it's basically somebody that was a transient that I gave him a job. Now he basically lives at the bar for the most part. I set him up a room above hand.
Love it.
He's
I
one of
love
the people that helps me corroborate my day job.
Okay. Perfect.
But yeah.
Perfect. Oh, he probably looks very attractive as well. Okay. Evan, do you got any?
I have an idea. I want to ask a question first. With like the silver fangs and the whole noble thing, how is there like lore to that, or are we supposed to make it up?
You can make it up within reason. Like there is, I'm not the most expert lore on the new werewolf stuff, but we can tweak it to make it work. Why? What's your idea?
Okay, I mean, it didn't really have anything to do with the idea, honestly. I was just curious.
Okay. I don't
I
think it
think-
goes that deep, but I'll look at
Yeah, no, that's totally fine. Because since this guy has been wandering a while, it's not massively relevant. Let's see. I need a last name. I'll come up with it later. I was thinking a woman named Pamela something. We'll figure out her last name. But I was thinking kind of like I can't remember what movie it's in. I think it might be like in the Ozarks where they have like that secretary lady that pulls out and shows like the old maps of like the town and stuff like that. So I
Yeah.
feel like this is like one of my go-to people that I've been getting all this old information about who used to own the lands and
Sure.
what it was like before, and him being of noble lineage. I think it's like very important that he's trying to figure out the truth because of things have changed over so many years.
So she's like some kind of historian. Is that sort of?
She's
what it
more
is?
of just like the person that gives him like the special access, after
Okay.
so many times of him coming in, she's just like, oh yeah, like she knows. It's like going to like, the place he's probably
librarian
not
or
supposed to be. Yeah. Like she just has
archivist.
an
Yeah.
archivist makes probably more sense.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, we do have. I mean, like in Phoenix, we do have a massive college with tons of libraries. So like, there's definitely ways that like we can kind of tie that together. If you
Yeah.
wanted to look for it, yeah, no problem. Kipser, do you got any touchstones for us?
Yeah, I made Calypso Circle, and she is a palm reader, and she is who I initially went to figure out about the supernatural, so she knows.
Okay, all right. She had okay.
She's been very
so she's not a
informative.
mundane human. She's a human, but she's still a human, right?
Yes,
Okay, all right. But she's aware. Okay, yeah.
I don't know her abilities, and that's definitely a fake name.
She thinks she's aware.
She
Okay.
might think she's aware,
Right.
but she is a true believer of many things.
I like it. I know exactly the type of people you're talking about. Okay, great.
Yeah,
All right.
first person in the yellow pages I found.
That's a good resource. All right. So we've got your. Oh God, I'm just looking at what I was on a different page on Foundry, and I've come back. Okay, let's see. Okay, so we've got your touchstones. All right, so the last thing really is for now. I mean, like there are a couple things we might do in the Discord between now and then as we kind of iron some things out. But the last thing we're going to do, and then we'll get on out of here because it's getting late, is we're going to do relationships between each other. So you don't have to do all five of you don't have to necessarily define your relationship right now to each other, but you do need to pick two others. One, you're going to draw a line between your name and somebody else's name, and it's going to be a positive connection, and the other is going to be a negative connection. Now, negative doesn't mean you hate each other or anything like that. It could be just something as simple as like just like your rivals, or whatever it might be, or you're jealous, or he's envious, or whatever. It doesn't have to be like anything like murderous and evil villain type, but there's something negative, and it's just a quick phrase. Like it doesn't have to be anything that is too developed just yet. And it doesn't even have to be reciprocated. So like if you have a negative feeling towards somebody, they don't have to have that back to you. It can kind of cycle out in all sorts of different directions. That's it. That's basically the last thing we got. I'm going to go by the overlay. Jeremy, who would you think amongst what you've heard so far would your character, whose name we don't know yet, who do we think you might have a positive connection to?
Well, I'm going to go with Eustace, I think. Eustace has the right feel to it. Eustace Hart.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Eustace appreciates sort of man who gathered tales from long his travels. So he's probably going to be a fan of our Galliard pal here.
Okay.
And I'm not against things being a bit old fashioned.
I think he's Silverfang now, right?
But isn't Galliard like your
class.
Oh, Galliard's
Auspice?
awesome. I'm sorry.
Auspice.
Yeah. I'm sorry. My bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm old, so I don't mind somebody who's a little bit old fashioned. That's okay. If anything, it's kind of comfortable. It's nice.
All right.
Sort of fellow you'd sit around a campfire with.
I like it. And who would you think you might have a negative relationship towards?
Look, I respect that Red Fang. I do. But he come in here just wild as a shithouse rat, and just I won't give him the benefit of the doubt, but there's a part of me that just worries he's gonna tear shit up, right? In the wrong kind of way.
That's fair.
I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt.
Okay.
I will, but I can't help it, man. Just
He's a loose cannon. Yeah.
it's a loose cannon.
I love it. Fantastic. Okay. So you got positive towards Evan. You got negative towards Aaron. Melissa, you are next. Who would you say your character has a positive relationship with?
That's a good question, and I don't know.
I mean,
so
you
I'm
knew
gonna
it was
roll.
coming. It's like there's a system.
I know.
To this.
I know. I need to find a. There we go. Okay.
You can roll a
D8.
die. Okay.
I am rolling a die. All right.
All right.
I rolled a 1, in which the overlay order would mean that I have a positive relationship with our newly introduced Eustace.
Yep.
Oh shucks.
So, let's see.
Just imagine
Which one of these?
all shucks.
I'm just gonna
craft
roll.
beer folk singer rages out and eats a person. Like you just like,
Okay.
well, shucks.
So there's
there's
a fun relationship map connections PDF thing. So I just rolled on that.
oh yeah. You can do
So
that.
stood by me on a disagreement we had with the rest of the pack.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you are struggling, if you can't come up with something off the top of your head, you can always take a look at the relationship map connections. Renegade Game put out a couple extra supplements. One of them was for character creation. One of them was for relationship map. There are positive and negative tables, like a D10, so you can kind of use that. Okay, so that was positive towards Eustace. Who would you be negative towards?
I just went with the dice rolls.
Let me give my
It's Aaron.
dice. Oh,
Let me roll a D10
All right,
and see
Aaron's
what
gonna be
this
my buddy. Jesus.
negative relationship
I was already
is.
picking Aaron because he's protecting me. So
That's fair.
So I don't know that this fits at all, but it's funny. So I rolled a 1, which on the list is always in my personal business when they should worry about their own.
Okay. Wait, who was this? I missed the joke. I'm sorry. Who is this?
Aaron.
Everybody
So-
hates me.
Yeah, we're two negatives on Aaron. Mine
Okay.
was the dice talking. But you apparently are
Yeah, but you hang out with humans too much or
bloodthirsty
something.
wolf is
Yeah.
a busybody, nosy busybody.
He doesn't understand human interaction, and that's where his problem is. Because wolves are
Are we gonna have to tell
very
you
social.
when you need to lie again? Are we gonna have to look you in the eye and say we're lying?
Oh my
No.
gosh,
Don't ruin it.
you basically made Bacho. You should just say Platinum. This is great. Okay, Evan, you're up. Who do you have a positive relationship towards?
Aaron the wolf.
Yep. Protects you. Yep. Okay. Got
Yep.
your back. Okay. And who do you have a
then-
negative one towards?
Oh, definitely the damn detective.
Screw your traditionalism. I was going to
Definitely.
aim at you too.
Just because he, I think has
Can't
some
shake
secrets to
things
him, and he
up
just doesn't want people to dig
be a
in
little
it. You know?
different.
Yeah,
Friend.
too nosy. Yeah.
Right. Doesn't
Yeah.
want
Can
people
never-
to know where he's from, what his whole story is. He wants people to just be a wolf and walk with
She
him.
can never shut off. She can never just shut off the detective mind. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm shut off right now. What are you talking about?
Well,
Why are you wearing a dark shirt again? You could use. Sorry.
All right, Kipser, it is your turn. Who do you have a positive relationship towards?
All right. So we currently, Aaron has a positive. Jeremy has a positive. I'll probably Melissa because they are into the spiritual world stuff a little
Okay.
bit with their build,
Cool,
and
cool.
clearly I'm reaching out for anyone
Hmm.
because I found a palm reader and I believe them.
Oh my.
And then you're negative. Are you going to reciprocate towards
I
Evan's
will
character?
reciprocate, Evan. I think
Had a
we
feeling.
have again clashing characters. Or upkeep that die tradition.
Mhm.
He's too traditional to me. I don't understand any of this wolf garu business.
Mhm.
Clearly, he's just made up rules.
All right. Perfect. And then Aaron, finish this off. Who is your positive relationship?
Positive is Evan, and it's because he's the alpha. The Silver
Yeah,
Fangs
the
are the
leader.
alpha. So the wolf in me recognizes the alpha and accepts his leadership.
Absolutely. I think
Would
that makes
be
a lot
better,
of sense. Silver Fangs, notorious, the well-known leaders. And then who is your negative relationship, Aaron?
I hate to say this, it has to be Kipser because the red talons are anti-technology and
Yeah.
anti-weaver, and that's what the
True.
Glasswalkers are all about. So
I think that makes sense.
her embodiment of technology and her acceptance of the weaver runs completely contrary to a red talon's way of thinking. So he
I
doesn't
know how to
trust-
drive a car.
Yeah, he
All
doesn't.
right.
Blasphemy.
Fantastic. Okay. I
Kick
think
her out.
that's- Kick her out.
Nah, we need anarchy here. Let's overthrow this whole concept of alpha.
So now Kipser plays the role of the person who likes technology and wants the steampunk in the game.
Right.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Things are inverted all of a sudden. Yeah. All right. I think that'll be it. I think we'll finish it there. I'll have some notes for you all over the next week about the cairn and the community and a NPC or two that you'll draw a connection to. But I think that should be it. Obviously, you should take some time, look back over your attribute distributions, your skill distributions, your specialties, all that kind of stuff, gifts, advantages. If you have any questions about it, we'll take a look at it and we'll sort it out for the next week. Anything you might have said on stream that you want to change between now and then, we can definitely do. So it's not a big deal. But I think we'll end there. We'll start up with these characters and the situation next week. Yeah, that's it. That's werewolf character creation. So.
Thank you,
why-
everybody, for the massive record hype train today. All the bits. We are already starting off. By the way, Jeff, you have multiple complications already
Sweet.
that I've been keeping track of for you, and a ton of audience bits for us as well. So
Yeah,
Nice.
I know Kat said she gave me some. I hate to tell you guys this. There's no audience. All of it just goes towards the GM. Sorry. We'll
All
sort
right,
out how we're gonna use
bye.
them. We're gonna sort out how we're gonna use them. I'm not sure how I want to use them. I don't know if I want to just add extra dice to the pool because there's so many other ways to get dice. So I'm not sure that's the best way to do it. That's what we did with Hunter, and I'm not sure it was the best thing. So we'll talk out over and we'll figure out exactly how we're gonna add the boosts in and go from there. Why don't we do a couple close and plug stuff and then we'll get on out of here. So Jeremy, we'll start with you. You've got a Patreon you like telling us about. So tell us about it.
Aaron Reese on Patreon. You got comics, maps, tokens, fun stuff. Check it out.
Perfect. You're always so fast. I always like race to kind of go and like mute and then so fast. And then we'll just jump down to Aaron. Aaron, tell us about Garblag.
So let's see. There's nothing on Friday, but next week on Tuesday at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, you can join Millie as she runs Coriolis. Then on Wednesday, Dan will be continuing our Warhammer 40K Death Watch campaign as a group of Space Marines fight Xenos threats and have a good time doing it. You can catch me in that. And then on Thursday, Lewis will be back at the same time, 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, running the Ballads of the Barding, which is the One Ring campaign on Garblag.
All right. Fantastic. Links are in the chat, or if you're watching this there on YouTube, check the show notes. There are links to everyone's stuff, including the Patreon that Jeremy mentioned. Okay, other things that we've got going on. Tomorrow night's our next game. Friday night, Aaron hops back into the GM seat as he's running us through some Conan. Probably the second to the last session, so we're getting near the end.
I'm thinking so. Yep.
All right. One Ring on Saturday, and while I don't think it's our second to last episode, it's probably 4 or 5 left, so come check that out. Monday, we're starting up a new game. Oh gosh. So this is my third brand new game in a week. As we're starting a new game on Monday called Fragged Empire. We're doing another one of these session 0. So that one's going to be sci-fi, space sci-fi, kind of a Mass Effect sort of vibe. So come check that out. Tuesday, we're starting another new game. I'm not sure if I mentioned that.
Shocking.
I'm not running this one, thankfully, as Steven will do so, but you can see some of the faces here as we are playing. I forget what it is. Kipser, what are we playing again?
X-Men! X-Men!
Playing a new
That
Marvel
went
role-playing
perfectly.
game. X-Men, yes. School's Out is the title. And then in a week, we'll be back for more of this. Thank you to everyone who hung out tonight. Thank you to those of you who threw out some bits and threw out some subs and such. I'm sorry I didn't actually respond to them when they happened. I was reading a lot tonight. So, but I really do appreciate it. If you haven't yet followed the channel, whether it's on Twitch here or over on YouTube, Adventures in Lollygagging, I would love for you to do so. It's how I define my worth as a human being. Other than that, have a great rest of your night. And we'll see you next time. We're going to go ahead and raid Lost Caravan RPG. So follow that raid. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye.